Hey, this is Tyler with T-Jack Survival, and this is a quick discussion review about the S1 Pro from Fallkniven. So stay tuned. Okay, so what spurred the idea of getting the S1 Pro and the F1 Pro was one of my viewers left a comment on my channel asking me to demo the Fallkniven Pro series knives. And the reason why the comment was left is last year I demoed the F1 and the A1 knives with Fallkniven on a couple of winter backpack, winter camping videos. And they were very impressive. We built bow drill kits and built a really nice large deadfall trap with the F1 as well. So I talked to Fallkniven and I was able to get a hold of a couple of these guys. This is the S1 Pro. It was one that I didn't use last year, so I used it this year. It's got a little bit of a fatter width in the front, which is nice because it's giving a little bit more weight. It's got a really nice 90-degree spine for running a ferro rod, and it's got that rubberized handle. One of the things that they did on all the Pro series that they added was they have this pommel, or this finger guard up here that's metal, which is really good. And then they have the more abrupt full tang in the base to run it. So what I did this week so far is I ran a hand drill with it, and I created a hand drill with it. And one thing that's kind of interesting that a lot of people don't know is you can actually use this little grommet right here as a top socket like this to run your bow drill. So that's a kind of a nice little thing. So these are a convex grind. They're made out of VG10 steel, which comes from Japan, and it's laminated. So if you look really close, you can see the line where you got the carbon steel and then the stainless up top. So anyway, it's performed very well for me this weekend. I really like this one. I like all the Fallknivens. I've never really had one that I didn't like. Easy to please there. So anyway, Matt hasn't really had a chance to use this Fallkniven. He's been using the F1 all week, but I want to get his opinion on this and see what he thinks.
It's a beautifully manufactured tool for sure. And like he said, I haven't had a chance to use this particular one. I seem to be one of those guys who finds something that he likes and sticks with it. And so I'm curious about a convex grind. I've not really used a convex ground blade much. I pretty much stick with the Scandi grind, not only for bushcraft, but because I'm a wood carver, it's just awesome for that. So I'm curious to use this more. But the edge that, was this the factory edge, or have you resharpened it?
No, yeah, I pulled that out of the box this morning.
It's unbelievably sharp.
Yep.
But Morse Kachansky has a, he defines a survival knife as a pry bar that shaves wood really well, and this thing is stout.
Yeah.
I would say you could definitely pry with this if you needed to. And what you mentioned about this grommet, I hadn't looked closely at mine, but that is very cool. Actually having the ability to use that as a socket for a bow drill, that's something that can be hard to manufacture a lot of times in the field, so it's kind of neat having that built into your knife.
And where that's a metal, it's actually slicker, so it's going to be a smoother running bow drill than if you had like a piece of wood over your top socket.
Yeah, it's very smooth, so it would turn really easily. I also love that it's a excuse me, a full tang. It's got that tapered tang, and it's extended out here. And one thing that I don't like about some of the more traditional Scandinavian knives is that rat tail tang that comes through. It doesn't have that strength that you really want. And also, I'll do a lot of like planing with my knife. So I'll take a billet and pound this into a good stout log, and I'll actually take a piece of wood and carve in this fashion so that I basically am eliminating the follow through with a carving stroke. I can actually more safely and quickly remove material like that. And that's perfect for this. Having that tang stick out like that, it gives you a good target that's not going to damage the handle on your knife.
One thing that I like to use the base of these for too is when I make dog bane rope.
Yeah.
It's a good little pounder. Or when I'm
Totally,
grinding
yeah.
up an ephedra. In fact, I was drinking that over here. If I'm grinding up Brigham tea or ephedra, you smash it up and then put it in your tea, or
Yeah.
or pine needles. There's always something you want to grind, and that little knob right there just works really well for that.
Or shelling acorns.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's a lot of little useful things you can do with something like that, extended tang like that. And I do like the size. It's. I usually go for like a palm width blade, which for me is like 3.5, 4 inches. This is more like 6. And I like that it's just a little heavier at this end because I could do light chopping with this, which, you know, I'm not going to go chop a tree down, but if I need saplings or something like that for a project, I can just quickly lop one off.
And last night I was building a hand drill set with this. I was using sagebrush, and having that little chopping ability is really nice to smoothen up and clean your spindle real fast. It gives you a little more inertia to do your thing with it. So try that out.
Yeah, it's not.
I got him. There you go.
A little bit. There it goes. Wow, yeah, that's good. Nice, yeah, nice 90-degree spine is good.
And it's not such an aggressive 90-degree spine that you can't put your thumb on it. I've had some of them that are so sharp that I put my thumb on it to do pressure cuts, and I cut my thumb open. So this one's, it's enough of a 90-degree spine to throw a spark, but it's not going to tear your thumb up when you put your thumb on it.
And yeah, and another thing about this 90-degree spine is using it as a scraper. So like if I needed to smooth, say I'm making a hand drill or something, and I wanted to smooth a little bit of the bark off, I could save the edge, the cutting edge of my knife for more important stuff, and I could just scrape with the back of this knife, and it's basically another tool. So I like it. It's simple. I mean, that's the thing. I'm all about simpler tools, because the simpler something is, oftentimes the more task it can be pressed into. It's more versatile, and I like the versatility of this. And so I'd be curious to experiment with this knife a little bit more. But
one thing that I like to use that 90-degree spine for, when I make a bow drill bow, I like it to be kind of wide and then thin, and you don't want any really like sharp angles, because what happens is when you put it under pressure, those sharp angles will split. So what I like to do is to use that back side of the knife to just clean off the bow when I'm making the bow drill, and then I get a more springy and resilient bow than I would if I just used a big heavy stick. So that's a real big positive, is having the ability to take the bark off and remove all that type of stuff. You really want something like that in a knife. So, all right, guys, this is a discussion review of the S1 Pro from Fallkniven. I'll leave a link in the bottom where you can go check this out if you're interested. If you have any questions about this knife, please leave the questions in the comment section. And if this has been valuable to you, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching T-Jack Survival.